Hi. We see that there are three ways to what people are calling today internationalize a business. And what I find interesting is that there is a relatively new terminology, internationalize, but underneath actually there are a few different things that are mixed here. And I want to separate these things, and this is why it's important. Depending on the intention, it's gonna determine a particular specific way of thinking, and depending on this way of thinking, it's gonna determine a group of actions, and these actions, of course, they're gonna generate some results. So it's important to understand the differences between what people want when they say, I'm internationalizing the business. Okay, so there's a link here in the description of our video. We help businesses of different sizes at different stages build their success in Canada. Okay, let's jump at it. What are these three very different intentions that then generate different ways of thinking, that then generate different strategies? First one, and I would say is the vast majority, 80% at least, we estimate, people just want to sell abroad. It's an export strategy, and the word export exists for a very long time, but for some reason sometimes a term gets, a new term starts to get used and people find it more appealing, more interesting, and more creative, whatever, start to use the new term to mean something that there was already an older term for it. So a lot of people today say, oh, I want to internationalize my business. What they really mean is I have products or services that are produced in this place and I want to sell it to other markets. So you want to export. What are the characteristics of this way of thinking when you want to export something? Well, first, there is always a relatively low adaptability required. It's what we call the catalogs and price list approach. There is something that's already been produced, could be products, could be service, could be a SaaS that is just downloaded from the cloud, whatever, right? Or used, directly on the cloud. But the fact of the matter is you don't need to adapt much. Of course, there are minor things you need to adapt, like, oh, maybe I need a new website with a little bit of focus. Oh, maybe I need to change the packaging a little bit. Or maybe my pricing has to reflect now the new realities, new taxation, and maybe logistics costs for the new place. But these are all in the periphery. The core product of what's being sold doesn't change. So looking at this expansion, the core way of the company to do business doesn't change much. Some changes in the periphery. So sometimes this typically happens more to exports, this 80%, which is I want to sell abroad. But sometimes people may want to do the opposite. They say, no, I want to set up an office to consolidate my international purchases. Let's say your business imports a lot of stuff where you are, imports from whatever, from Europe, from the United States, from some geography. And you say, instead of trying to do all these importations from different places, I'm going to create an office there, make all the purchases, and then I bring everything to my country. So sometimes it happens in terms of consolidation of purchasing and maybe do some value-added operation in the location. But this is an export-import mentality, which is things are produced in one place and consumed in another. Okay, that in our experience is 80% of the cases of people that say, I want to internationalize my business. Then, because we're in Canada as a country of immigrants, a lot of people coming here, there is probably about 15%, where there is actually the owner, for example, wants to relocate. If you own a small business in your country and you want to live abroad, well, the business is your livelihood, is what you know how to do. So what you're going to do? I'm going to take my business with me, right? I want to do business there and I want to make money there. So sometimes the immigration path is easier. There's never an easier path, but sometimes people may perceive as an easier path to immigrate by bringing the business. The challenge here is that, does the business model really work in the new place, right? The product, does it really solve problems? What I sell, my product or service, does it really solve local problems in the next place I'm gonna go? Or am I still thinking too much like I used to think back home? Which is great, because that's what caused all my success up to now. But I need to adapt when I move, not only sell abroad. So here you have an additional degree of adaptability, very strong, very cultural way of doing business, dealing with a different culture is very important. Then we have a third way of internationalizing the business, which is really strategy, right? This is where these two things almost meet. Like, yes, somebody may want to live abroad. That's fine. There's nothing detrimental to the business rationale to expand that somebody wants to live abroad. That's completely fine. It's great to have the motivation, but you also need to have the strategy. And this is where the international presence will really generate a real benefit to the business, right? It's not just because I want to live there. It's like, no. This is my business. And if I have an operation in this country, and I may have to be the guy that, or the girl that goes, or the person who goes there to actually run this operation. But once this operation is going, look at all these great things that are going to happen to my business. There's typically 3 areas of benefits that may come to the business by having an international office or an international operation, which is access to international markets, of course. That's where Canada is really good, because Canada is a good base, given all the trade agreements that Canada has, it's a good base from which you can sell to multiple countries. It's not just, nobody looks at Canada as one market. Oh, I'm going to open an office there because I want to sell to Canadians. No, it's a great place to build things, to integrate knowledge, to innovate. Innovation is the second pillar. So you do innovation here, and with this new product or service created with Canadian DNA, then I can access international markets. And what tags along with all that is the branding. The branding typically is also good. Like, people see favorably things that come from Canada in many places. Not all, of course. Nobody agrees with everything everywhere all the time. But there is a lot of countries in the world that see that what comes from Canada is a synonym of quality, of integrity, of abiding by the rules and doing things the proper way and having a fair price and being people that are nice to deal with. So this may be a reason that benefits the branding as well. So the 3 pillars: access to international markets, innovation, and branding, right? So our focus here is to make the strategy, right? Remember, there's 3. There's export, immigration, strategy. Our focus is the strategy part. Is make the strategy work for you, for your business, and generate true results for you. There's a link here in the description to learn more about how we can help. Good luck.